TWU members transport about 8 million people a day by air, transit, and rail. That's more than the populations of LA, Chicago, and Dallas combined. But the public has no idea just how dangerous our jobs can be.
It's a very dangerous job. There's always something moving. Head has to be on a swivel. Not only are you looking for trains, you're looking for equipment movement, the guy next to you working, anything can happen.
TWU and TWU Local 1400 puts a high value on all of our members' safety. We want every member to come to work, do their job, and go home the same way they came in.
Flights are coming in, coming out all the time. You can't walk behind an engine that's running. You can't walk in front of an engine that's running.
It can be extremely dangerous when you're riding around aircrafts, especially at night. Some of the aircrafts, the smaller ones, you can't hear them. There's no sound practically. So if you're not alert and you're not paying attention, you could look up and there's an aircraft in front of you on a taxiway.
Our work area is a very dangerous environment, and it only takes a split second for something very bad to happen.
I love my job, but this is not the safest job.
For us, we leave our house every morning and we have nothing but a prayer and a driver's license.
But don't think we're just sitting back and ignoring the hazards. We're making record progress in worker safety. A prime example, bulletproof partitions for bus operators.
I was attacked on my bus before, so absolutely unsafe.
TWU Local 234, with the backing of the TWU International, is going to shut down the sixth biggest city in America, Philadelphia. We're going to shut this place down.
During a 2024 contract fight with the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transit Authority, TWU International and Local 234 compelled the authority to agree to install protective compartments on SEPTA buses. TWU International President John Samuelson then invited locals from across the country to observe a ballistics demonstration at a police shooting range outside of Philadelphia.
It's looking pretty good. It's looking like this is the precedent that we're going to use to bring every city across America. This is good. This is an enormous deal. It'll be precedent setting. We've been seeking to end the scourge of assaults against our operators across the whole entire country. Philadelphia, in our last contract bargaining, which came very close to being a full-blown strike action by the TWU against SEPTA, we won this. So these folks are not here today because they want to be here. They're here because we won this in a contract fight.
It's exciting. Anything that could keep our operators and our members safe is a plus. If it saves one life, if it lets one person allow them to get home to see their family, it's absolutely worth it.
So I guess when we saw it, the expectation was to hope that it does a semi-decent job. And I think the reality was it does a phenomenal job. So the expectations definitely was outweighed by the reality that this is something that really could be beneficial to all city agencies, especially in New York City, where, you know, gun violence isn't low.
It's major. It's major. It's a very, very large step in the right direction. Like it gives you a sense of comfort, gives us a sense of security that we haven't had in a long time.
But that's not all the TWU has done to curb the plague of assaults. Through our powerful political program in Washington, D.C., the TWU secured a federal requirement that all transit agencies form joint labor management safety committees. These committees must have an equal number of labor and management representatives, and they must identify safety improvements for implementation. Another TWU victory? The Federal Transit Administration issued the first ever General Directive on Safety to transit agencies nationwide. The directive orders transit agencies to conduct comprehensive risk assessment studies and start implementing safety improvements, or face a potential loss of funding.
There has to be an assessment done and true reporting as to what's going on and what steps are being taken in order to remedy that. One assault is one assault too many. So, you know, we take that extremely seriously.
The most egregious acts of in-flight violence are now being turned over to federal prosecutors.
Assaults skyrocketed during the pandemic, and many of those incidents were tens of thousands of feet above the ground where our flight attendants work. Unruly passenger reports to the FAA increased from 1,000 in 2020 to nearly 6,000 in 2022. The TWU was at the forefront of demanding action from the federal government.
We need to make sure that we do have severe penalties for it. We need to make sure that those cases are prosecuted, and definitely we do need the no-fly list. The Transport Workers Union is working with regulatory agencies and the government. All of our unions are doing that, but we need to make sure that all of our customers, that all of the regulatory agencies understand that when it comes to assault against airline employees, that just won't fly.
Damn right they won't fly. That's why we launched the Assault Won't Fly campaign, to raise awareness of this issue.
Flight attendants greeted passengers on the ground outside DIA today. They're working to teach flyers about the rising number of assaults in the air.
Yeah, the Transport Workers Union claims there are reports of 5 unruly passengers a day. Their campaign is called Assault Won't Fly. They passed out informational flyers and want to make passengers, well, they want them to know about it. They say it's not just physical attacks, but verbal ones.
The campaign also demanded action from employers and government regulators.
My wife's 556 out of Midway, and she's a Southwest flight attendant. She got assaulted by a passenger. She rammed this gal rammed her roller bag right into my wife's temple. And she's been off work. It's real, and I think the walkaway that I had from this whole thing is the management is not cooperating on Southwest's end. She, on the side, got a phone call from a manager and said, just get a lawyer.
What did Southwest do with the passenger that hit your wife?
They got her off the airplane, and then they were trying to rebook her. They waited like 20 minutes for the cops to show up, and they didn't show up, and they're like, all right, they just, it's time to go.
The airlines may be willing to waive off these assaults, but we aren't. The TWU was the major force compelling Congress to introduce the Protection from Abusive Passengers Act. The act would direct the TSA to maintain a no-fly list of passengers banned for assaulting, intimidating, or abusing a flight attendant. In 2024, we were instrumental in getting protective measures into the Federal Aviation Reauthorization Bill, which is now law. They include directives for enhanced security training for flight attendants, doubling FAA fines from $50,000 to $100,000 against unruly and criminally aggressive passengers. Required pre-flight briefings must include a warning to passengers that assaulting or interfering with a crew member is a federal crime. In addition, because of the outcry against these assaults, the FAA began referring unruly passenger cases to the FBI for criminal prosecution, and there have been hundreds of criminal referrals to date.
What there should be is some very unforgiving, strict laws for when someone does that to a flight crew.
The TWU is going to do whatever it takes, whether local, state, or federal. We're going to aggressively pursue legislation, rulemaking, whatever is needed to protect our workforce in the workplace.
Thankfully, the number of FAA-reported unruly passenger incidents has sharply declined from a 2021 peak of 6,000 to 2,100 last year, a 65% decline. But even one incident is one too many, and the TWU will never stop fighting for the safety of all our members.
Safety is not a foreign language, it's a language we all speak, and we all want to be speaking it in unison.
But not all safety threats are from passengers, like potentially dangerous fumes on board aircraft. The TWU has been a champion for legislative and regulatory action, including the placement of toxic fume detectors in planes. Notably, the 2024 FAA reauthorization required airlines to create systems for flight attendants to report toxic fume events. And another provision directs the national academies to conduct a comprehensive air quality study with recommendations. This past June, the first ever TWU Air Division Safety Summit was held at Local 513 headquarters in South Lake, Texas.
It doesn't matter the name on the side of the airplane. What matters is the health and safety and security of our members that are working these aircraft. We're all in this together, and the more that we safely work on these aircraft, load these aircraft, then the better off we're going to be so that our members can come to work and go home safely.
The very nature of our work on airport ramps is inherently dangerous. Members have been injured or lost their lives in accidents where lax safety rules or malfunctioning equipment led to tragedy. At every airport where we have TWU members, we're going to make sure that they're as safe as possible every minute of every day.
Yeah, every day that's, something that we deal with. These a busy airport, a lot of things are happening, and
we always, fight back, make sure, the members are protected.
For the first time ever, for our local, we've got 2 offline full-time safety people. So they're doing more visits. We've never had that before, but because we're making sure that safety is number one, just like Southwest claims to be, we've got these 2 people. Southwest pays for half of them to be half offline. We pay for them half to be offline. And now we're partnering with them to make sure that we can do whatever we can to make sure that people go home the same way they came in.
We've started safety advocates with our safety stewards. They go around every day, walk the gate, make sure everything's okay. And we want to make an impression that say, hey, we're leaders out here, and you're always aware of your surroundings because accidents can happen at any time.
Tonight we are learning new details about last year's massive derailment of a train car in East Palestine, Ohio.
The East Palestine, Ohio disaster highlighted the hazards faced by railroad workers every day. The TWU worked on the DOT final rule that would require at least 2 people operating every freight train, an essential safety measure that improves working conditions both on the tracks and in rail yards. The danger that comes with working on the right-of-way can't be understated. Live train traffic and deadly electrical currents in the third rail are just 2 of the hazards. One misstep, one miscommunication, or one flawed procedure can mean tragedy. But last year, the TWU helped secure a final rule by the Federal Transit Administration, giving track workers the right to refuse unsafe work. The rule echoes language TWU Local 100 secured in contract negotiation years ago to curb track fatalities. Track safety is a top priority at both the international and local level, where officers ensure there is proper education, training, and equipment. Whether it's safety committees, FAA, TSA, or FTA regulations, or contract fights with management, if there's only one thing we need to do, it's keeping every one of our members safe at work.
We want to get to the point where every single worker has the right to refuse unsafe work. We have workers that are covered either contractually or lawfully, covered by that freaking beautiful thing, which is the absolute right to refuse unsafe work. And this is an area where we should even be working more intensely with our locals.
So buckle up, TWU members. The safety fight is one we've been waging and winning. Like the saying goes, if you see something, say something. And the International will be right by your side every step of the way. Because every one of our locals and every company and agency we work for should know, at the end of the day, we are and will always be
TWU, America's Fight Back Union!